ọmọ mi ń kọ́ ọmọ mi ń kọ́ o ṣé dáadáa rẹ̀ wá bá wà yìí o dáadáa rẹ̀ máa tó padà sílé o.
Yes, it's just because they can. Yes. The wind that was there was there was one wind. Uncle Balogun, Commissioner wa tuta ṣẹlẹ̀ uncle yìí.
Ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ o. Ẹ lẹ dà.
Uncle yìí bàbá.
Ẹ lẹ.
Commissioner wa.
Clara ti ṣe o. Ṣé kò sí? Tẹ fi ń bora ní oníṣòwò díẹ̀. Wọ́n lè sọ̀rọ̀ ọjọ́ náà. Nígbà 25 years. Ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́. Báwo ni ṣé wọ́n ṣètọ́jú yín?
How can they báwo ni? He was a teacher.
I see.
And you know he didn't say all of them.
He didn't see all of them.
Gbogbo táà ilé yóò wá ga jù. Táà ẹbí dọ́sìn yìí. Wọ́n máa ń múra lọ́jọ́ ọjà.
What is the chronic problem with you? Because if there was a structural error, since 1987, you're talking about 5 years. Serious structural problems.
In order to enhance the image of the teaching profession, the Director General of the State Teaching Service Commission, Alhaji G. Olayemi, made the appeal yesterday at the Central Party in honor of its former chairman, Alhaji Yunus Basharu. Alhaji Olayemi noted that Alhaji Basharu and his team succeeded in making Lagos Teaching Service Commission a pace-setter for other states, stressing that they can concern themselves with issues of staff welfare, moral uprightness and performance, which is not a worthy of emulation. Professor Jose stated that Alhaji Basharu and his team were able to bring sanity into the commission. In his response, Alhaji Basharu thanked the staff for organizing the meetings and of party, pointing out that whatever he had achieved was with their cooperation. He urged them to continue to uphold the good profession of teaching. In the address to the chief
Mama,
dedicated officer, he included other men of the state forest service to emulate the good behavior of Mr. Ubandi in his this the State House of Assembly has pledged its support to women politically conscious. The pledge was made by the Deputy Speaker of the House, Prince Rashid Hashino, while speaking at the political awareness rally organized by the State Women Commission. The Deputy Speaker said that
and I understand they're not even
planning. Okay, so when we are our way back, just drive past here, so I can see, then bring it on. Since it was physically allocated to social welfare.
We have one job drive and jump here that we didn't know where to pick him.
But he did some training.
Been to technical college.
He went to
Yeah,
technical
technical college. He has been through that since and he's the carpentry. Well, he has been with us since he was in small.
Who set up himself?
He established himself and is now managing with him.
And ideally, it's not supposed to be staying here any longer, but because we don't have anywhere to send him, that's why we do it.
One at Sunday and one in my home.
Shelter, we call them shelter places.
I see, okay.
Those who are not in here are sent to the Motherless college.
We saw that one.
Yes.
These are technical. Then we put our various
This one would have left this place, but they are not able to locate his father.
How old are you? I am 21 years will be about 17
You have been taught to work on Liberia. Roughly 2 years. You have not had it.
They are making time. By the time he was going, that's when you.
He abandoned it a long time ago.
Clearly abandoned. Because those who are drafted here for the first 6 months, after the first 6 months, then they change them, whether back to go there. But in his own case, you won't come back. And we are convinced that it's a deep abandoned him here.
They located the relation of somewhere in America, but they say the accommodation is not suitable. Has about how many?
6 children. I can't hear you. 16 years old.
It's an abandoned site.
It was constant. They have water here.
These are one of the two who can activate
most especially the water problem at Motherless home in Victoria Island.
Well, the problem of the motherless babies home was brought to our attention this morning, and obviously for a facility like that we need water because they look after small children, they wash a lot of nappies and they clean the children and so forth. So we are definitely going to try to well, maybe first of all find a short-term solution to the problem while we think about a longer-term solution. But definitely, it's one area we will address.
The general complaint has been shortage of staff and inadequate funding in the institutions. What step will we take to ameliorate the situation?
Well, the problem of a shortage of staff is a general problem. You see, salary bill for staff in this state is a heavy one. I don't want to quote figures here, but it's so heavy that honestly the government cannot afford to bloat the civil service even further. You see, it's where it's absolutely necessary. One would have to request His Excellency's special dispensation, and where we find that this has to be done, we will not hesitate to do so. But I think it's important for all of us to understand that there's a limit to which we can have a bloated civil service. It's a lot of money that is going into paying salaries every month, even as of now.
Is it not possible, sir, to move some staff from maybe some overstaffed areas to...
Right, that is one option, because as you and I have seen, in many of our social welfare units, most of the places there is shortage of staff. I agree with you that there may be other areas of the civil service where there may be excess, or maybe the staff are underemployed. If that is so, the logical thing to do will be to move people from where they're not needed to places where we're needed. I must use this opportunity to express our appreciation to the philanthropic organizations who have come to our aid in these units by hiring staff for us in many of these social welfare units. As an example, in the Motherless Babies Home, I think there's one organization who have hired the Dutch Canadian Women's Club, who are responsible for about 15 of the staff there, and similarly for the management committee also about 15. So we appreciate all of these gestures, and they've really made a big difference, you know, in the running of these institutions. We would like them to continue to help us in this way.
Incoming District Governor, a special guest speaker, is the 4-week camp and of the things we think, say or do can be applied positively in relations with others in the home. Legislation in government to relations between teachers and students in the schools. Before we step on. Thank you, Rotarian Ayo Omidiji. I think, being seated, we shall allow the high table to go first, and in doing so, I would be grateful if the high table will split themselves into two. One set go to this side to save time, and the other set this side.
how very delighted I am to be here today as your guest speaker. I was approached by one of my respected brothers and school fathers at CMS Grammar School to come and play this role. Having Otumba Afolabi Alu to talk to me was all that was needed. As he himself has pointed out, he was one of my mentors. I think between himself and my cousin Shegun Ogunbomi and Kehinde Adeosun, my first few years in the grammar school, in accepting your invitation. A formal letter of invitation followed a few days later. The letter generously gave me the freedom to choose my own topic, but also added the theme of today's happening. Real happiness is helping others. I decided that the topic I choose will have to be relevant to your theme. I submit, Mr. President, sir, that the topic that I have chosen, the state of social welfare services in Nigeria, is such a topic. For one thing, it's an avenue par excellence to helping others. Secondly, it is an area where your renowned philanthropic organization has excelled, so that all that is left for me to say in this address is more grease to your elbow. Opportunity to borrow the phrase of the chief executive of this state gives me an opportunity as the #1 servant in social welfare services in this state to draw attention to the patently evident but little realized fact that social welfare is an area that demands no less than the cooperative efforts of all of us, government and the governed, brothers, sisters, families, and friends. I will now try to very briefly define social welfare. So social welfare services have from time immemorial been part of our various cultures in this country. Our traditional setups provide social welfare services through family heads, traditional rulers, elders, religious rulers, etc. Disputes were settled by family heads, village heads, or traditional rulers. As such, I think we can say that social welfare is neither new nor strange to us. Social welfare, as we now know it, started in Lagos during the Second World War. At that time, there were many stray and abandoned children and juveniles in the streets. I think it's fair to say that the colonial authorities at that time recognized the problem and quickly rose to the challenge. You may remember that this was the time that the popular Sherry approved school was built. Sherry approved school, as you know, was built for purposes of reformation of these stray children who up until that time were a strange phenomenon to our country. It may also interest you to know that many famous people today in Nigeria pass through the Sherry approved school. I am telling you on authority that one state governor passed through the Sherry approved school. Not to mention the internationally acclaimed sports people, particularly boxers. So I wouldn't mention their names here, but some of them supposed to be world champions in their time. All approach. So I will now briefly describe the main components of social welfare. Family and child welfare, rehabilitation, counseling and corrections, and care of the elderly. Obviously this is not all. I'm just choosing the ones that are foremost, because I realize that your business today is not listening to a long speech, but initiating your new president. So I shall now very briefly elaborate on these different areas of social welfare practice. Family welfare. This is the family is the basic social unit of any community. Communities aggregate to form states, and states aggregate to form the nation. The quality of the family ultimately determines the well-being and development of the nation. The government, at various levels, fully recognizes its obligations to the family, namely, to provide and preserve a conducive environment in which the family can operate effectively towards the realization of its goals. Specifically, government has the responsibility for guaranteeing safety and security of family members, provision of shelter, provision of employment opportunities, adequate health care, and the like. Child welfare, children of today are the leaders of tomorrow. The quality of life of children of today and their developmental experiences ultimately determine the well-being and the capacity of the nation tomorrow. Mankind owes the child the best it has to give. Thus, the fundamental objective of the government and the welfare of the child is to guarantee for the Nigerian child adequate environment and opportunities for the total development of his personality. This objective applies as well, perhaps more particularly so, to the handicapped child. Some of the special obligations and objectives of the government in this area are ensuring survival and subsequent growth and development of all infants, enhancement of health status of children through immunizations and the like, preventing various forms of child abuse by natural or foster parents, educating parents on aspects of cultural traditions which are harmful to the child. As an example, female circumcision, which is still prevalent in various parts of this country, or encouragement or promotion of child marriage, which is also still disturbingly common in some parts of this country. So next, rehabilitation. The society as a whole has a responsibility to cater for the need of its disabled members. The goal is to restore the individual to the fullest physical, psychological, and economic usefulness of which that individual is capable of his human potentialities. Clearly, this is an area that calls for the joint efforts of government and the society as a whole. I must take this opportunity to recognize some of the efforts of voluntary organizations such as yourselves in contributing funds and material resources for rehabilitation programs and for your efforts in other areas in the promotion of improved quality of life for disabled persons. I will take some time to acknowledge a few of your colleagues who have played important roles in this women's club, have played a big role in helping to run that motherless babies home. They give material resources, they hire some of the staff are paid by them, and we're very grateful to them. At our rehabilitation center in Magido, which is the biggest rehabilitation center in this country, the group known as the Good Samaritan Club has played a wonderful role in providing for the inmates of that facility. So I think they too deserve a mention. Your sister club, the Rotary Club of Isheri, has played a remarkable role in keeping standards at the Isheri approved school. The structures there were well planned at that time, as is typical of our colonial 4 years. However, from neglect, a lot of the structures have deteriorated. And I was very pleased to see the Rotary Club of Isheri rising up to the challenge. They have rehabilitated at least 2 structures in that facility. And I've appealed to them to keep up the good work. In addition, I would like to acknowledge the contributions of the Lioness Club, particularly of Akoka. They have played a wonderful role in our junior approved school of Viral Avenue. They actually last year renovated the entire structure, so that that place is so neat. The customary habit is to think of these children as delinquent children. So when you get there and you see the facilities in which they live, how clean and tidy they are, you now recommend the place as a reformatory center rather than just a dumping ground for delinquent children. School has reduced almost to nil after this fantastic effort of the Lioness Club of Akoka to refurbish their facilities. Without wanting to bore you, I will also just briefly want to mention again the efforts of the Dutch and Canadian Women's Club in our remand home in Orengo. They also have played a wonderful part. So these are just examples of the roles that clubs like yours have been playing in the improvement of the quality of life for handicapped and otherwise disabled people. Now to counseling and corrections. As previously stated, counseling is part of our culture. It is often so freely given by elders that we tend to take it for granted and thus overlook its importance. This is a process by which an individual is helped to improve his social behavior through improved knowledge of self. The basic goal is to prevent deviance. Unfortunately, in spite of preventive efforts, some individuals will still fall by the wayside, becoming social casualties in the development process. Hence the need for correctional facilities which are aimed at helping such persons bring themselves back to a position in which they can benefit from the development process instead of falling victims of it. For juveniles, such remedial measures usually include skills acquisition. So lastly, of the 4 categories I mentioned, care of the elderly. In our society, we shower traditional respect and high regard on the elderly. This stems directly from the important position that they occupy and the roles that they play in our traditional society. Correspondingly, there is a fervent concern on the part of the average Nigerian for the happiness and welfare of their aged parents. Consequently, up to recently, we have quietly glossed over the need for organized governmental welfare for our elders. But it seems that all of these will, as politicians are wont to say, soon be a thing of the past. So the reasons for this are not far to find. The first is there is a change in demography. There is an increase in the number and proportion of our population now attaining old age. So there's a heavier cumulative load. Secondly, the extended family kinship support system is being eroded, largely due to the omnipresent economic hardship. In this area is to guarantee an improvement in the quality of life of the elderly and ensure their total integration in the society. Lagos State presently has 10 social welfare institutions. We have 4 approved schools, 2 remand homes, 1 large rehabilitation and training center, that's the one at Majidun, 1 children's home, 1 motherless babies home, and 1 old people's home, the area of old people's home. The idea of old people's home is so alien to our culture that we cannot now, under the excuse of harsh economic climate, divest ourselves of our traditional culture of responsibility for our aged relations. Thus, government will continue to de-emphasize the use of old people's homes while emphasizing kinship-based and community-based support systems in the care of our elderly. Now to your role as voluntary organization. I started this address by acknowledging the noble role that your great club and other similar clubs have played in the past in the area of social welfare services. Voluntary organizations such as yours occupy a unique position in offering social welfare services within their local communities because of their special understanding of the local needs of the people in their communities. There is social welfare with a human face. Secondly, the ability of government to care for the vast needs of our societies in this area is drastically curtailed by our dwindling resources. There is a crucial need for assistance from your own and other voluntary agencies to complement government efforts. The support is even the more crucial in view of the continuing erosion of our traditional and community arrangements that formerly catered for old and other disadvantaged people. For reasons of clarity, I shall take a moment or two in outlining specific roles that you can play in these various areas of social welfare that I have talked about. Number 1, you can encourage self-help projects for the elderly. You can sponsor public enlightenment programs on the care of and respect for our elderly. You can continue to contribute as you've done in the past, funds and material resources for rehabilitation programs. I will give you one challenge. At the Motherless Babies Home, the only thing that's lacking there in Victoria Island here is water. And you can imagine caring for infants and children without water. They have to wash their nappies and so forth. Right now, we will be very happy if your organization can take up the challenge of sinking a borehole for this Motherless Babies Home. You can also help by the offering of gifts. As an example, food, of clothing, and drugs to institutions charged with care of the disabled and the handicapped. You can have the gifts of technical aids for the disabled. As an example, brails for the blind, mechanical ambulatory devices for the disabled, and so forth. You can encourage innovative enterprises to enhance the quality of life for the destitute, the disabled, and the elderly. President of Rotary Club of Lagos, these are but a few of the roles that voluntary organizations like yours can play, for many of which you are already well acclaimed. I implore you not to relent on your efforts in these noble endeavors. This way, your membership can continue to achieve real happiness through helping others.
The object of this club and all Rotary clubs is to encourage and foster this ideal as a basis of worthy enterprise, leave you to be a worthy representative of your vocation, interested in the ideas of Rotary, and willing to do your share in translating these ideas into tangible reality. Rotary and please. As the president of Rotary Club of Lagos, this evening, the Lord and myself knew what I was going to say. But now, only the Lord knows. My immediate past president, Rotary Pax Okele, and inaugural member Okele, the incoming district governor, Rotary Depot Billy, and inaugural member Billy. The district governor nominee. It is customary for a newly installed president of our club to address the gathering of this nation. For giving us this day, and to thank my fellow members of the Rotary Club of Lagos for giving me the opportunity to serve as the 32nd president of the oldest Rotary Club in Rotary International District 9110. Being a Rotary Club president is a challenge, but it is a challenge that brings with it the knowledge that thousands of Rotarians all over the world stand with one as agents for positive change. However, becoming the president of the Rotary Club of Lagos has its own peculiar challenges. When one thinks of the club's achievements to date, achievements of those of our founding fathers, like Honorary Rotarian Chief S.L. Edu, who was the charter president of the club, and our highly respected, ever-looking young, Honorary Rotarian Otumba Adekunle Oshidero, who was not only a charter secretary of this club, but he still holds the unbeaten record of 5-year term as club secretary before he became president later on. Can you please give him a round of applause? These and others are the ancient presidents of the club. But at the same time, I have to pay homage to the most modern of all the past presidents, who has just handed over the baton of office to me. You have listened attentively to the review for 1991-92. Without any shadow of doubt, it's been a very, very successful year for the Rotary Club of Lagos, and I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please once again give a round of applause to our immediate past president. It's made me feeling very inadequate for the task ahead. But I believe that with God's help and your cooperation, everything will be well. The leadership role of the Rotary Club of Lagos is a unique one, because one is leading a group of volunteers who have individual achievements to their credit, but at the same time are willing to contribute their own quota to the success of the club on voluntary basis. The task ahead is not an easy one, but I am confident that through the grace of God and the full cooperation of all members, our club will continue to wax stronger. The main challenge facing our club today is getting more of our members to meet their attendance requirements and serve actively in the various committees of the membership. Reminds me the joke about a young doctor. Of course, we have many doctors in our club. This young doctor, who is also a Rotarian, complained to an older colleague. He said, every time I attend my Rotary Club meeting, somebody at my table starts pumping me for free medical advice. It is embarrassing, but I don't know how to prevent it. Then the old-timer, who also is a doctor, said, it is very easy. I came across that many years ago, and I have a very efficient solution for it. When anyone did that to me years ago, I just stopped him with one word: undress. Indigent heart defective children who need complicated open heart surgery. At present, I am told about 25 patients have been screened by Rotary International District 9110. But these patients are waiting to be assisted for treatment. Under normal circumstances, it costs about $20,000 or almost 400,000 naira in professional fees per case to perform this operation. The Gift of Life Incorporation, however, offers a more favorable opportunity. This is a corporation of Rotarian support in time and money will continue. The success of 1992-93 Rotary years depends on our usual teamwork and individual efforts. By the grace of God, we will have a successful year together as a community. Thank you. In particular, I would like to mention and single out the chairman of the committee for this installation, who also is the director of our club service and also the second vice president of the Rotary Club of Lagos. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to also thank members of the evening.
Ṣé kò sí any other heads of department around? Fellow citizens of Lagos State, I want to address you this evening on the efforts of the Lagos State government under the governorship of Sir Michael Otedola in respect of its agricultural program. We are quite aware of the escalating cost of foodstuffs throughout the states, and the state government has been doing all that lies in its power to encourage agriculture and thereby to make the the cost of foodstuff to become affordable throughout the state. As you are well aware, the population of Lagos State is 5.6 million, and that is a lot of mouths to feed. It means then that the state can no longer rely on the importation of foodstuffs and the transportation of foodstuffs from the hinterlands. We have to try and make ourselves almost self-sufficient in the field of agriculture. I say almost self-sufficient because the Lagos State government is aware of the enormous job an enormous amount of money that feeding the whole population of Lagos State would entail. But the government of Lagos State intends to at least be able to feed half of the population of Lagos State from its own resources. In view of this, and bearing in mind that we are a riverine state, we are laying emphasis on fish production. The state government is encouraging the fish farming and also is also encouraging aquaculture generally in the state. We give a lot of inputs to farmers, fish farmers, in form of boats, outboard engines, fishing nets, and so on. We also encourage private fish farmers to cultivate the habit of maintaining fish ponds and also to build bigger and bigger fishing reserves. I want to assure the people of Lagos State that as far as fishing is concerned, we shall not be found wanting. We have made budgetary provision for building of coal rooms, and contracts are being awarded for building of coal rooms throughout the state, so as to assist our fishermen in preservation of fish. Then, in the field of crop farming, we are also doing a lot. When this administration assumed office, a lot of agricultural equipment and implements are found to be in bad state of repairs. They are broken down all over the states, and what we are trying to do is to refurbish them and repair them instead of buying new ones. It costs more than 3 times the initial cost of buying these equipments. So we have a lot of these equipment that are broken down, and we believe that by the time we refurbish them, and by the time we are finished repairing all these agricultural equipments, there will be a lot of boost to agriculture in Lagos State. Mechanization is very important to modern farming, and all what we need is to make sure that we have very good and serviceable agricultural equipment. We have been helping farmers to clear their farms so that they can plant, and a lot of these activities have been done during this farming season. We have helped a lot of farmers to clear their farms and to see that they start their planting very early. We have also helped to distribute the fertilizers and sell fertilizers to farmers so that to increase their yield per hectare. We have extension services. What I mean by extension services is a form of training services and giving information to farm states, of which we have more than 60,000 farm families in this to do farming in the way it should be done. Peasant farming methods, but rather to go into big time farming, and this we are succeeding in doing. Season, 3 main crops which we call target crops. We have cassava, maize, and bean plants during this season. We have given a lot of encouragement to farmers to plant these target crops. Every year we shall have various target crops, but as I said, for this year we have those 3. Next year we are going to have another set of target crops, which this ministry and the government will concentrate upon. Then I go into the field of rice production. We have an area of land at Itoiki where we have been planting rice. We have started to make arrangements to expand the areas of rice farming. We have people who have been to areas like Thailand and some eastern part of the world where rice has been grown extensively. We are learning from their experience, and we want to make use of all the swampy areas in the state to grow rice. Agricultural projects. Every year we encourage schools to practice some form of agriculture so that we can develop the interest of young people in agriculture. We have voted, the governor has gratefully voted a sum of $500,000 for this project, so that in a lot of schools we can have either poultry farming or fish ponds and so on, so that we can start to develop the interests of our youths in farming. We have people who go to these schools to supervise what the schools are doing, and we provide inputs to the schools so that they can help the farming projects in various schools. Then I want to also talk about the aperture and lineage at Agege, which we have just completed. The project has been on for many years, and it has been to the immense credit of this administration that we have been able to finish the project. Very soon, the governor of Lagos State, Sir Michael Otedola, will open the aperture and lineage at Agege, and the intention is to ensure that all the small slabs, where what would be called slaughtered slabs, are scrapped, so that we can have all the slaughtering of animal in one centralized place, which will be hygienic and which will be up to standard all over the world. So very soon, the aperture and lineage, which has cost the state government more than 500 million, will be opened at Agege. Now, there are 2 or 3 other areas which I want to talk of in this address, touch upon in this address. One is the Agricultural Land Holding Authority. The idea of Agricultural Land Holding Authority is to make people who are interested in land to come forward, who are interested in agriculture to come forward and do real farming. Successive governments have allocated land to people so that they can cultivate and do some agriculture. This is a good idea, and we intend to encourage it, provided the people are really genuine farmers. We don't want to allow people to take advantage or to speculate in land by taking land for agricultural purposes and not going on the land to really do any farming at all. We have seen a lot of this throughout the state, and we want to put a stop to it. We are going to encourage genuine farmers to obtain land so that for agricultural purposes. So I will want to appeal to people who are genuinely interested in farming to come forward with the application for agricultural lands. Those who have not utilized their land for agricultural purposes and have obtained the land for some time now, will be asked to give up the land. The state government can no longer tolerate a situation where people take land for agricultural purposes and use it for residential purposes. We want to boost agriculture by various means, and people who are interested in obtaining land for agriculture will definitely be encouraged. Land Development Authority. The purpose of this authority is to encourage agriculture throughout the Federation. Any state that is interested in this scheme is expected to put up or to deposit a sum of 2 million naira, and then the federal government will add its own part, which is a very substantial part. That is more than 85% of the total agricultural expenses that the state may want to incur. I'm happy to say that the Lagos State government under Sir Michael Tedola has put down the sum of 2 million naira for this under this program, and we are expecting the federal government to give us a substantial amount of money to help us in agriculture under this scheme. Under this scheme, various areas will be earmarked for agricultural development, and people will also come from the federal authority to come and help us with agriculture. They will work in conjunction with our own people. But because the federal government is involved financially, the government will also have to see what is going on. The National Agricultural Land Development Program is a very, very worthwhile and very ambitious program. By the time it takes off fully in the states, I'm sure that there will be considerable lowering of prices of foodstuff throughout the state. Then I must also add the contribution of agricultural development projects in the states. The agricultural development project is a World Bank assisted project. It has a lot of contribution from the World Bank. The federal government is also contributing to the project, and also the state government also contributes. The project encourages agriculture throughout the states among small farmers, and the project has done a lot to stimulate agriculture throughout the state. Agricultural development project. There is also a lot of encouragement. Every effort is being made to make sure that the prices of food is brought down, and I'm sure that by the time we finish this season, and we're going to have an accounting officer accounting cassava. All we can do is to encourage the farmers to do it. Their experience, clearing the land for them, this and that. That is what we can do, you know. Satisfy you. Thanks.
Mr. Jackson, it's welcome. The Managing Director, grounds are present, invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The rural nature of the origins of man has never been in doubt. The recent history of man has, however, featured generally very destructive control of his environment, technological changes. The world began to witness large-scale rural-urban migration. Born and bred in the urban area is on the increase. Somewhere along the line, urban dwellers captured political aid, the great divide between the rural and the urban in the third world, and also between the north and the south globally, can be traced to this development. The point in history at which this great divide occurred is a matter for debate. In Nigeria, the contrast between the rural and the urban is quite strong. Women are in many respects amongst the most disadvantaged groups in both the rural and the urban spheres. In fact, they confront double exploitation at home as housewives and at work as operatives. Many policies of governments discriminate against women. They are underrepresented in the strategic sectors of society. This reality led to the decision of the First Lady in 1987 to embark on a program meant to enhance the status of women in society and also to arouse their consciousness. The training course of today on Better Life program is indeed worthwhile, as it marks a significant input from the ground to the town efforts to better the lives of Nigerians. As far as we know, this is the first time in its 5 years existence that the Better Life program is being discussed by intellectuals directly with beneficiaries of the program and in an organized reason to benefit from the researches and findings of University of Lagos scholars on the Better Life program. They should not hesitate to ask questions on theory and practice of the Better Life program from the guest lecturers. Scrutiny of theories and critical analysis of alternative practices would certainly enrich the 5-day training course